I must confess, I am slightly underprepared for this video. Events always catch you out. But anyway, I hope you have had a good Monday morning so far. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you all got to see 5 Fact Friday from last week. In today's live stream, I would like to take your questions on today's topic, specifically Rightmove's asking prices falling faster than expected for this time of year. They always come down a bit at this time of year seasonally. They're falling faster than expected. What does it mean, especially on the back of last week's information where house prices were going up? It's been reported widely by the media. I'm going to play you a clip from a Damien Talks Money YouTube video, which I just really want to make sure everyone watches this video and hears this clip, because it really backs up what I've been trying to say to everybody for the last few weeks about how unusual conditions in the moving market can lead to the calculations for the house price indices being skewed or being less reliable or less stable than usual. It's nothing to do with questioning their integrity or not being able to trust them or not. It's understanding the maths about how when the input values and variables are atypical or unusual, that can do things to the numbers that end up being confusing. I'm also going to talk to you, especially today, in light of today's Rightmove house price news, I'm going to talk to you about the criticality for sellers. The one thing that if you get it right, your whole life will be better from here on in. And if you get it wrong, you will be disadvantaging yourself and it will ripple onto eternity, the consequence of your choice, good or bad. But without further ado, so please give me your questions on Rightmove's index and on asking prices. Let's just see how the media has been reporting it this morning. Okay, so let's start with the Telegraph today, showing us, hold on a second, house sellers slash asking prices as interest rates hit property market. Now, I must absolutely, and I said I would do this, I must give the same caveat as I would if it was going the other way, which is that for the average asking price to be falling, it doesn't necessarily mean that house prices are falling. Okay, so to all of you who didn't think I was going to say this, sorry, it's true, right? It is quite possible that the reason that the average asking price on Rightmove for new properties in the last month has dropped £6,000 is because there are more people advertising lower priced properties. That is absolutely possible. It might even be likely. And so, yes, it is also true to say that the drop in the average asking price on Rightmove may have nothing to do with house prices falling. Perhaps they're not falling at all. Perhaps everything's fine and then they're going up, right? That is entirely possible. I cannot discount that possibility. So for all of you who just want to believe the house prices aren't going to fall, that's what you should tell yourselves. Well, Rightmove's £6,000 average asking price drop in a month is nothing to do with house prices falling. It's just to do with more cheaper properties coming to the market, which, by the way, it actually genuinely could be that. But it can also or not be that actual individual house values are also changing one way or the other. Anyway, that's the Telegraph. Then we had the Guardian. And what made me happy about this, why isn't it not letting me, something's changed in the controls here and I can't do what I normally do. Sorry guys, this has just caught me off guard. I've got to unshare and reshare each time I want to change tabs. So this is the Guardian today on their live feed and they pinned it. There's Rightmove's, and of course these price papers are all the same paper saying last week, oh, prices are going up, prices are going up. And yes, you know, some of you could argue, or you could try and argue that well, you know, with the lender indexes saying that the house price, I mean, the lender index is actually close to the more real. So what they're showing is that actual prices are going up, and Rightmove is just showing that more people are putting cheaper properties in the market. So that's what it is. And yes, you are all right. All of these things are possible, which is why it's so important that you don't just blindly believe what the indices are saying. up or down. You must look beyond the headlines. You must look beyond the headlines, okay? Yeah, so this was The Guardian, and I was really happy for the first time I've seen this today, is that on The Guardian's page, it also had reactions to this news further down. Hang on, where are we? And here we are. Hey! Great to see that I'm now being, although I'm sure he won't be as happy, that I'm now being quoted alongside Henry Pryor's tweets on The Guardian's homepage for today's activity. Anyway, let's just get straight down to the actual. I'm sorry about this, guys. I've been caught off guard by a change in how my streaming software works, and it's just making things a bit clunky this morning. I hope you will forgive me. But let's get the actual Rightmove index up. Thank you very much. There it is. I have put a link to this PDF document in the description below the video if you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook. Otherwise, you'll be able to find it on my website, mhwc.co.uk, when I post afterwards. Okay, so you can go find it there. I love how the headline is still better than predicted. Better than predicted, yeah. Which to be fair, in many ways it has been. Not in terms of transaction volumes, it hasn't been. And the quick things that are always worth looking at. It's always worth looking at this particular chart that they always have on page 1, which just breaks down the different market segments down here. So first-time buyers, monthly change in asking price for first-time buyer properties is minus 0.4%. Second steppers minus 1.2%, and top of the ladder minus 2.3% for those properties. Okay, and the annual change. That's a much more indicative thing, because again, the average figure for the entire market is of no value to you whatsoever when you are selling a particular type of property in a particular area. And with that in mind, let's go down to the regional graph and how that shows, because what you can see here, I think it's for the first time, is that every single area has a month-on-month red. So every single area is now in the red. So every single area, the asking prices on Rightmove are falling in every single area of the UK. Where the middle section is red, that's where the year-on-year prices are falling. So go and I'm not going to start going through individually here, but go and have a look for yourself. Honestly, it'll make you a much better informed person than someone that just reads headlines. And here we have London again, where we've got Richmond on Thames, which year on year is up 2.9% and monthly is up 1.7%. That could be for a number of different reasons. Remember that. It doesn't mean that prices are rising. And down the bottom of the scale, we've got Merton with an almost 9% drop year on year in prices. And Camden with a 4.6% drop year on year in prices. But these are, all this shows you is that every borough is different, and this is why you have to get out. Now, if you are a potential buyer thinking of buying, want to know what's happening, where you want to buy, the only way to find out is to be out viewing, to be prepared, to show agents you're serious, to have your mortgage and principal ready, your conveyancer ready and lined up, and to be out viewing. That there is no other way at the moment yet for you to find out what's exactly happening in the market where you want to move. And on that note, I would now like to play you this clip from Damien Talks Money. And I've also linked to and I encourage all of you to go and watch this 10-minute video. It's entitled, "Why Aren't House Prices Crashing?" This is a 60-second clip from it. I encourage you to go and watch the full 10-minute video, and I encourage you to watch it to the end. It's very important. But here we go.
Property prices could be falling, and these data sets could easily report that the prices are going up, simply because the transactions are on high-value homes only. It's an extreme example, but to demonstrate my point, what if the only houses that sold in a month were £1 million mansions? Does that mean that the average house price in the UK is now £1 million? If first-time buyers are sitting out the market because they believe prices will drop, maybe the only deals that are going through at the minute are those for older people or people with bigger equity positions who skew the data. Also, a lot of the data doesn't include cash buyers, which actually make up about 1/3 of total transactions at the moment. I mean, where are all these cash buyers at? I got some lovely bottles of Prime I'd like to sell you. But yeah, please remember that as the amounts of transactions reduce, the data from these organisations in a way becomes less and less reflective of actually what is going on. What tells us more about the property market? The fact that the best house in the neighbourhood just sold, or the pages and pages of houses that have been on the market and not sold for months. Even probably the best data source.
Right, guys. So I hope that's helpful. And please go to the link below, or just go and search "Why Aren't House Prices Crashing?" Damien Talks Money on YouTube, and find that video and watch it to the end. It's only 10 minutes long. It's a brilliant video. It's really insightful. It doesn't prove me right or wrong, but it says beautifully what I've been just trying to say for a long time to a lot of people, which is that it's several things, but most importantly, what's happening nationally is of no significance to you when you are moving locally. All right. It is a market of a million different anecdotes. And yeah, anyway, so there's that price. There's that point. So I'm going to come on to questions in a minute. But before I do, I just wanted to talk about this, the last topic before I start taking your questions. And by the way, if you've got questions, please type the word "question" at the beginning of your comment. All right. I'm looking for questions on these topics. So what I wanted to say is that I'm sure everyone would agree, whatever you think is happening to house prices, that it is deeply frustrating that there is no clarity and no transparency in what's happening in the housing market. Now, it is my very strongly held belief that it is precisely because of that lack of transparency and the difficulty to find out what's actually happening in the market. It's that lack of transparency which allows so many agents to get away with overvaluing. It's why I believe that if we can bring transparency to house prices, overvaluing will disappear overnight. It just won't be a thing anymore. Overvaluing hurts movers and hurts agents and hurts transaction volumes. It is a galactically stupid thing to do ultimately, as a lot of agents are finding out now. And in fact, I think that's one of the reasons that we're starting to see asking prices coming down, because agents are, some of them, the really slow ones, are finally waking up and going, hang on a second, if I win a listing to sell it, but only because I persuaded them that I could get the highest price and I can't get it, I'm not going to earn anything from that. It's just going to sit on the shelf gathering dust and I'm going to look bad. They are finally waking up to the fact that without transactions, they can't earn any money. And a lot of agents, especially the most inexperienced ones, are just addicted to winning instructions. Win instructions above all else, and then worry about getting the price, getting them sold, getting price drops later. Just win, 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 win. What a lot of people don't know is that 80% of the work of an estate agency is winning business and keeping it from their competitors. Honestly, the lion's share of their effort, their time, their money, their resources, their passion goes into getting the business. The actual selling of the property, as a lot of you will probably agree, is something that they don't spend that much time doing. And the good agents, most agents, would much prefer to spend more time actually selling property than just fighting with their competitors. But what do I mean by house price transparency? I mean, imagine this, okay? So today, there will be homes selling and they will be exchanging. Today, there will be solicitors exchanging contracts on the sale of a home. And for that one home, you've got the agent, you've got the buyer solicitor, you've got the buyer, you've got the seller solicitor, you've got the seller, and probably the mortgage lender as well. You've got 6 parties who today know the price that that property exchanged at. And yet that data does not exist in a way that we can see it. It's there. The information is out there. And what I'm working towards with Best Agent is to create an exchange index, which will be at least 6 months earlier than the land registry reporting actual house prices, number one. And number two, it will not contain as many errors as the land registry does. Why? Because it will not involve as much manual retyping of data. And so there won't be typos. in the data. So that's what I'm working towards. And I want to finish up with this before I take the questions. The housing market, house prices will do what they're going to do. And they'll do that based on government policy first and foremost, and what's happening in the economy, which is also a result of government policy. Nobody can talk the market up or talk the market down. You might be able to talk an individual house up or down, and that's why so much of it happens. But imagine if that was no longer possible. Imagine if you were an estate agent walking into a property to pitch someone to sell it for them, and you go in there with all this data to back up the overvaluing, which, by the way, the Rightmove index is a massive part of that. And the seller turns around and goes, well, no, there were properties exchanging last week for a lot less than that. So we know that's bollocks. Yeah, it would just be overnight evaporation of overvaluing, which wouldn't only be good for movers, it would be good for agents, the good agents. It would be bad for bad estate agents who would probably give up and move on and go into some other industry where they can try and hoodwink people. So that's what I'm working towards. And because ultimately, progressing with our lives, social mobility, the ability to get on with our lives, is linked so much more to how easy or difficult it is to move than anyone understands. And people would move more often if it was easier to move. That would be good for estate agents, and for any market, it would be good for liquidity. There'd be more to choose from if you're a buyer. There'd be more buyers around if you're a seller. That's what I'm working towards. It's what I've been working towards since I very first started in this industry 25 years ago. When the first company I started reduced the time to market, so the time between someone saying, please sell my house, to that probably actually going live, reduced that by nearly a month. That was for higher end stuff in London, where it took a month to get the professional photography done and the floor plans done and the brochure done. And we got it down to 2 days. And that improved liquidity. And that's what I want to do, is improve liquidity. In other words, flexibility and ease of moving for everyone that's moving, buying or selling. That's what I'm working towards. I do not wish or want house prices to do anything up or down. And a lot of people just assume that that's what I want. And it's not what I want. The market will do what the market's going to do, whether anybody likes it or not. And yes, the government will interfere with it. I wish they hadn't later, etc. But there's nothing we can do about that either, other than make sure we vote for the people that are going to do it the least. So with that, let me now take some questions, because I just wanted to reiterate why I'm here. So hello, everybody. Hi, who we got? Stealthful. Hello. Sycamore. Hi, Arthur Wormington. Kevin H. Sycamore. Right, let me see. Questions. Do I have questions? Mark Lewis asks, this is a question we get a lot and it always bears re-answering. As a first-time buyer, how low of a percentage should I negotiate for a lower price? Oh my God. I work for the land registry and you're bang on the buck in regards to a lot of what you say. Mark, thank you very much. Wow, I hadn't even seen that when I selected your question. I just saw the first part of the question. Wow, Mark, thank you. That's really, really encouraging to hear, and thank you. But let me ask you a question. As a first-time buyer, how low of a percentage should I negotiate? Right, asking prices of all the different kinds of prices available. So there's asking prices, agreed prices, and actual prices. Asking prices are the least accurate. And you never know. It changes on a property-to-property basis whether or not the seller and the agent of that property have been unrealistic or not. And therefore, you can never apply a blanket percentage to what you should be offering above or below or at asking price, because some agents, the best agents, will price a property so keenly and realistically that offering below that means you'll get ignored, right? Because they've priced it at a price it's going to sell at, and other people are going to offer asking price. Other agents and sellers will price literally 20% above the value of the property. Just, it doesn't work. And some will be 10% and some will be 5%. So because when you're out offering, you are offering on a specific property that has a seller with a specific motivation, and you are a specific buyer in a specific position. And all of these things mean that your offer on that property will be very precise based on the property itself, the seller's position, and your position. And what you have to do is you have to assess your offer for each individual property based on those circumstances. Okay. And what you must do is work out your maximum comfortable price that you are willing to pay for that property in this market condition and given your personal circumstances. Make that offer by email. And if it's accepted, great. And if it's not, walk away. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I just last week did a video and a long blog post on, it's a first-time buyer email offer template. You'll find it on my X post. You'll find it on my website, mhwc.co.uk. And just Google it, first-time buyer email offer template, moving home with Charlie. You'll find it. But it's also my most recent videos. So just look everywhere. You should find it, hopefully. And use that. That's got all the tips and it breaks down the details. So that's one question. Okay. Hamza Ahmed says, what are your thoughts on the fact, generally speaking, discounts will be at the higher end and most downsizing will cause a squeeze on your low mid price properties? Prices are stickier. Again, there's not much value in generalizing. And I really mean that to all of you. There's not much value in generalizing what's happening about the market. I know you like to talk about what's happening generally in the market, but if you're an actual mover, all that matters is the circumstances of the seller and the buyer concerned. And actually, the circumstances, the personal circumstances and personal motivation of the people party to the transaction will have a bigger impact on the transaction happening or not happening than anything else, including the price. Pauline McQuillan says, is it possible that agents in an area will collude to suddenly vastly overprice the whole area so that the drops that occur don't hurt them all so much? No, there are several reasons why that would never happen. So the thing that agents in the past, in very small circumstances, have been caught doing is that they collude on fixing their fees and fixing prices. And that's illegal. And agents have been done and busted for that. Okay, but it's very, very rare. The reason they wouldn't do what you're suggesting here is because actually it would make it harder for them all to sell houses, because the people have got to have mortgages to buy those houses, and the mortgage lenders will come out and go, no, that's too much. It's not worth that much. So that would never work. Andis, hi there. Hi, Andis. Nice to see you again. If estate agents don't make money until the property is sold, then why do they deliberately overprice it, clearly knowing that they will struggle to sell? That is an excellent question. And there are 3 parts to that answer. And it's worth spending time answering that question. So number 1, they would rather take on a property at a known overvalue price and then lock the seller into a sole agency contract and talk them down than let another estate agent win that business and get the chance of selling that property and getting the fee. So literally, that's the number 1 source of that problem, right? They would rather go, oh, has that agent said that they can get you 300 grand for it? Yeah, we could probably get you 310 for it, rather than let that agent sell it for 300 and lose out on the business. Because what nobody knows is just how much time, effort, and money goes into getting agents even to this point of getting in the door and talking to the seller. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, so the worst offenders at this do actually make some money on the back of listing the property, even if they don't sell it, because they make it on introducing you to conveyancers and introducing you to mortgage brokers, and they will get referral income from those introductions, even if they don't sell your house, okay? And number 3, for certain agents who adopt this policy, they want their shelves to look full because it attracts more sellers. So they knowingly stock their shelves with properties that they can't sell because it's just get the most. And Foxtons were the originators of this strategy back in the early 90s. And it was so effective at building their inventory that other agents were left with no choice but to follow suit. Question. Went to see a new build estate in Walkden, Manchester this weekend, and almost every home had been bought by Hong Kong people. Are they preventing the bottom from falling out? It's possible that if they are all buying in the same location, yes, that will have a hyper-local effect on house prices. But what tends to be happening with these overseas buyers like that is they tend to be concentrated in certain areas that they want to go and live. So in a local area, yes, it can make a difference. Nationally, no. it's not moving the needle. The numbers aren't big enough. Kevin H. Question: when do you believe forced sellers will come to the market? I think we are still dealing with sellers chancing their luck and not really motivated to sell. Kevin, that's a good question. There won't be a certain date. There will be a tipping point. I am expecting that there will be a tipping point. I could be wrong. Don't listen to or believe anything I say. Hear what I say, decide for yourself, and listen to other people too. I could be and am often wrong. I don't expect anyone to believe me or act on what I say. But what I hope is that you will consider what I say with an open mind. So my view is that we are going to see, last week we did start to see a UK Finance Report, a sharp increase in people with mortgage arrears, although not huge numbers compared to the last downturn yet. But unlike the last downturn, when we didn't have high interest rates, we do now. So I think that the cost of living crisis and the very, very poor economy are going to be contributing to a gradual increase in forced sellers coming to the market. I mean, I think today's news from Rightmove could be an early indication of that beginning to happen. What I also think is that, and what I hope is that for those sellers who need to sell because they need to move, or any other reason that they need to sell, will not make the mistake of thinking, oh, let's wait for the new year bounce. Let's put our property on the new year. Why would you want to be part of the crowd doing that, having more competition? You need to get ahead of that, because if you're selling because you need to move, you will not be taken seriously as a buyer offering on another property unless your property is under offer. So it is my very strongly held view that if you need to move next year, you need to get ahead of the market, get your house on the market now, get it under offer now, because otherwise you ain't moving anyway. Kevin Flagg says, watched Damien Talks Money video last night. Can only echo Charlie's comments to watch it to the end. Brings real clarity to the debate. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, yeah, Check D says, when I go and view properties, what kind of feedback should I provide to the agent? What should I avoid to say? If your feedback is because you're not interested, be completely truthful. There's nothing to be gained or lost by doing anything other than just telling them why you're not interested. You know, it's not the right place. Didn't like it. Sorry, it's not the one for us. If you are interested in it, all that they really care about is are you going to offer or not. So feedback on a viewing is only really either you're offering or you're giving feedback. There's nothing else. So if you're offering, there's no feedback required. If you're giving feedback because they've asked for it, be honest. And in fact, the more honest you are, the more it helps the agent get the seller to understand that they've overpriced it, because that's almost always the case. Vikesh Mystery asks, what is the real reason why estate agents are not lowering property prices quick enough? Is there something in the background that the average consumer is unaware of? Yes, Vikesh. So number one, it's not estate agents that decide whether the price is being lowered or not. And I can promise you now that all estate agents are wishing that their sellers would agree to lower the prices so that they can actually make a living and make some money by selling some property. There are no estate agents who want to hold asking prices high. It just makes their job harder. So the real reason is because the agent told the seller they would get them that price. And when the agent goes to the seller and says, oh, we need to reduce the price, the seller's going, no, you told me you'd get me that price. I'm not going to lower it. That's your problem. You told me 300 grand, go out and get me 300 grand. And fair enough, which is another reason why overvaluing is so stupid. But also, I understand why it's unavoidable for many agents. And this is another. It's another really, no, sorry, that thought's gone. Got distracted. Next question. Hello, got some foals here. Got some regular haters who still turn up and watch my videos, even though they hate what I say. Welcome, guys. I just don't understand why you waste your life watching my stuff if you hate it so much. Looking for more questions. Ali P says, if we've only just managed to get our house ready to go on the market, it's mid-November now, too late to list. Should we wait until after Christmas, January or February? No, you should not wait. You should get on the market right now. I am of the very strongly held view, and I'm expecting house prices to continue falling faster next year than they did this year. And in fact, even the agents and Halifax has said they're expecting house prices to fall next year. So why would anybody wait? Why would anybody wait? Don't wait, crack on. Some human asks, if you wanted to move but couldn't for 7 months, at what point would you start looking and making offers? I would start looking and making offers now. But be honest with that situation, because the transaction time itself is going to take you 5 months on average. So factor that in. In a busy rising market, agents are going to go, no, jog on, we're not interested in showing you property. In this market, if you're potentially a deal 7 months down the line, they will be very happy to talk to you. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. I cannot say it enough if you want to move. Amir says, hi, Charlie. I'm getting quite a few of these questions, actually. My landlord has offered to sell me his property at 90k, but I've had a look at recently sold in the area for the similar houses, which are around 70, 85k. Any suggestions on what to do? Yes. Just offer him what it's worth to you. That's all you have to do. Landlords don't set prices. They can set an asking price, both on rent and on sale price if they're selling. So I've had, don't forget, if you're a tenant and your landlord says, I want to put your price up, you can say, I don't want to pay that much. I want to pay this much. And you can negotiate. And as often as not, the landlord will accept your counter offer. You are not bound to accept what they say. Remember that, guys. K Art says, same as some humans. So that means you want to buy, but you can't buy for 10 months. It depends on what kind of property you're buying. It's okay to be out viewing. Agents love building a pipeline and getting you in the pipeline. They'll be happy to do it. Some will say yes, some will say no. Just get out and ask. Register, be truthful with them, and they will appreciate you being truthful with them. It will lead to the point where they're more likely to call you than another buyer when there's a property that they know that they can sell you, because they know that you're a straight talker. JD says, I hate offer in excess of prices. Can I offer lower, or will the agent tell me to take a running jump? It all depends on whether or not the asking price that they want offers in excess of is realistic or not. If you are the only person offering, you can offer whatever you like. It makes a difference what the asking price is. You're the only offer, you're the only offer. But if the asking price is sensible and you offer below it, you're going to get ignored because they've got other higher offers. So, as ever, there's no straightforward answer to that. It depends on the property. A house, so Firetog. Hello, Firetog. Fresh name. I would remember that. It's the first time I've seen that. A house was added to Rightmove 4 weeks ago. Was 800k and looks to be a good price for a house on 1 acre. 3 weeks later, the price has dropped to offers over 700k. Are they trying to start a bidding war? I wouldn't say they're trying to start a bidding war necessarily. I'd say that what they are is they're determined to sell it, and they're pricing it where they know they're going to get offers. So that's a sensible thing to do as sellers. If that price is a really keen price, they're going to get a rush of people looking and bidding, and they will get whatever the best price the current market will support is. So that they're wise sellers in that case. Leslie Smith says, if EPC grades of D, E, and F and G are having restricted mortgages, will this keep prices for that half of the market depressed for the medium to long term? Plus the cost of upgrade to C. Yeah, pretty much, Leslie. Because it's a bit like buying a second-hand car with a problem that it's going to have rectified later. Yes, that is going to keep those prices lower than energy efficient prices. Ben Chesterman says, if an apartment is renovated, why is it more expensive? Only because it's more desirable, and a more desirable property will get more people bidding on it and will probably get a better price. George R.A.J. Dixon, George Raj Dixon says, hey up, Charlie. When would you expect house prices to start rising again? I'm referring to the average UK house price property. Thanks. Sorry for the terrible northern accent. Okay, first of all, there are house prices and there are house values. House prices are nominal and not affected by inflation. House values are affected by inflation. Two things are very different. I would not, again, and also this varies depending on what part of the country you're in. It varies depending on whether you're high end, middle end, or low end of the market. Depends on houses or flats. But overall, on average, roughly speaking, in the whole country market, when do I expect house prices to start rising again? I would be surprised if they start rising before 2026. And that will be nominal. I don't think they'll be rising in real value terms. So inflation adjusted terms, this isn't a strongly held opinion, but it is my current view, which is probably more like 7 to 10 years until house prices will start increasing in real terms again. Roland Pitch, that's a great question. If your initial maximum comfortable offer using the first time buyer template and everything is in place was rejected, is it worth following up after 2 weeks or let them come to you? I would say in that scenario, I would say to the agent, okay, we'll leave the offer on the table for 2 weeks and then we'll take it off the table. And then after 2 weeks, just let them know, by the way, guys, that offer is now expired. That's what I do. If they come back to you, they do. And if they don't, they don't. Because there will be reasons that they won't tell you why they can't accept it. Right, guys. Thank you very, very much, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up. It's lunchtime. I'm hungry. Thanks for watching. And remember, all of you, if you need my help on anything, if you want to book a one-to-one call with me, 30 minutes or 60 minutes, you can book it on my website. If you want to get your mortgage and your conveyancing lined up, you can do that on my website as well. And if you want to buy a property search pack the day the offer is accepted to speed up the process, you can do that on my website too. And I hope I'm getting the message through to all of you that what I want for the housing market is an easier move for anyone who needs to move, because that helps people get on with their life, which is what I'm here to help do. All the best. See you on the next one. Thank you for your support. Much appreciated. Love and luck to everybody. Best of luck with your moves. Remember, keep out there viewing. Don't overpay. And if you're a seller, don't overprice. And I'll see you on the next video, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.